Hey everybody, it's Greg Miliatis from StartMyConsultingBusiness.com, and today I want to talk to you about a technique that I'm going to reveal that's called the niche success equation. Essentially, it's a 5-minute test that's going to tell you whether your niche is worthwhile, and it's a great technique. So let's get to it. So essentially, the niche success equation is going to allow you to increase your chance of success. It's going to cut down on your frustration and wasted effort and time. And it's also going to shorten the time that it takes you to become profitable with your consulting business and then essentially create the kind of lifestyle that you want. So this technique, again, is called the niche success equation. I'm going to explain it in detail in just a moment, but first what I want to do is I want to talk about one of the most common mistakes that I see people make. So one thing I see over and over again with freelancers and consultants, people who are either starting out or struggling after they've started their business, is that they don't specialize. And essentially, being frustrated and struggling with your business is no way to create your ideal lifestyle, which is essentially what we're all trying to do here. Have more time, more flexibility, earn more, that kind of thing. So you might think that you're specializing. I'm going to talk about what specializing lets you do in just a sec, but I want to first say that you might think that you're specializing, but chances are that you really are not specializing. And before I get into why you might be making this mistake, I want to talk about the reasons why specializing is really so crucial and it's really essential. So first of all, specializing allows you to have less competition because there are essentially going to be fewer people competing in your market niche, other competitors for your skills and with your skills, that kind of thing. Another advantage of specializing is you're going to be more easily found by your clients and your prospects, and that's essentially because there are going to be fewer people, fewer competitors in your market niche. You're also going to be able to charge a higher rate, which is of course wonderful, which is what we're all trying to do here, because your skills are going to be more specialized, and again, there's just going to be fewer people in your niche. And lastly, you're going to be able to establish yourself as an expert a lot more quickly and easily because there are just going to be fewer people in your niche competing for attention with your prospects. So essentially, specializing is going to give you a number of advantages that you aren't otherwise going to have in a more general, huge, undifferentiated market. Now, personally, I think it's a complete waste of time entering a market where you're going to be competing with people from around the globe who are willing to do the same job as you for essentially burger flipping wages. So if you wanted to earn that kind of money, it's really easy to get a job at McDonald's, but of course, getting a minimal wage job, and yeah, I did say minimal wage job because that's what it is, a minimal wage job is not going to create your ideal lifestyle. It's not going to do it. So now that I've gone over why it's important to specialize, I want to talk about what it means to specialize. So, like I said, you might think that you're already specializing, but chances are you are not specializing. And that's because people often think of their skills as their specialty. Now, thinking of your skills as your specialty is really the wrong way to specialize. It's actually kind of the opposite or the backwards way of specializing when you start a business. Even though you might need some specialized skills and experience. But when you're building a business, you want to instead target or focus on a specialized market. Not so much your skills, but focus on a market. So I'm going to use myself as an example. Now, I work in technology. I do stuff with databases and programming. Although I'm not a software developer or a programmer per se, I don't have a degree in computer science or anything, but I do stuff with databases and programming. So primarily my skills are using SQL, which is a database language, and Visual Basic, which is sort of a programming language. I typically use it with Excel for the most part. Now, those are really common skills, and there are probably tens of thousands of people in the world who have those skills. I'm not a complete expert at it, although I am fairly proficient at those primary skills. Now, so again, you want to focus on a market and not your skills. Now, going further, what would happen if I was going to try to drum up just any consulting or freelance work by focusing on my SQL and Visual Basic technical skills? So probably what would happen is I'd be able to charge maybe if I was really lucky, $40 to $50 an hour for my skills, if I'm really lucky. What's probably more likely to happen is that I'm going to spend a ton of time emailing prospects and about prospective projects, things like that, about why I'm the best person for the job. And more often than not, probably 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get rejected from those jobs because I'm going to be competing against people outside the US who are probably have similar skills or even better technical skills than me, but are willing to do that work for maybe $10 an hour. So it's going to be a really tough uphill battle for me to compete in that huge general market. It's just going to be really time consuming, extremely frustrating, and not very profitable. Now, what if I focus on a small group of prospective clients who needed my skills? And then secondly, what if that small group of prospective clients happens to have money? Maybe, they're profitable businesses. Now, what if, thirdly, if there's a barrier to entering that market, and maybe that barrier could be something that I could easily or reasonably expect to overcome. So in that case, what would happen is I would have access to a group of potential clients who are going to need something from me and are willing to pay for it. So even if that group of potential clients is relatively small, maybe say 3,000 or so potential clients, and even if they're scattered around the globe, it can still be a very profitable market niche. So that essentially exactly describes the situation that I'm in. I'm in a small market, maybe just a few thousand potential clients, and it's a very specialized market, but I'm able to charge a premium for my services. The potential clients are very profitable, and it's a specialized niche. But again, I'm not focusing on my skills, my general skills like SQL and Visual Basic that lots of other people can do. I'm not focusing on my skills, I'm focusing on a market. Okay, so now that we've covered why specializing is going to make your life easier and what it means to specialize, let's talk a little bit about how to know whether a particular market niche is worthwhile. So this is exactly where the niche success equation comes into play. So first, what you're going to do, you're going to come up with a list of potential markets that you're considering targeting, and it could be anything, but it could be like dentists, massage therapists, oil drilling service companies, home inspectors, commercial electricians, even traveling circuses. Those are all examples of specialized markets, whatever it is. But once you've got this list of potential markets that you're considering targeting, you need to figure out which one of those to focus on. And again, this is where you're going to use the niche success equation. So instead of just guessing or using trial and error to figure out what the best market is, you're going to use the niche success equation to figure that out. So the equation lets you evaluate the potential markets and then target the one that has the best chance of success. So let me go through the key factors in the equation. So first, you're going to look at the size of the market. Next, you're going to look at the competition, the amount of competitiveness in the market. And third, you're going to look at the profitability of the market. And those factors together are going to equal success. So let's talk about each of those in turn. So the size of the market. The market has to be at least large enough to sustain you and any other competitors that are in that market. If it's too large, you're going to risk lots of other competitors being in there or lots of other competitors coming in. If it's too small, there's just not going to be enough work or enough clients to get you enough work. So it's kind of like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears thing. You want your market to be not too big, not too small, sort of, get the sweet spot there. And it's going to kind of depend on your market and what sort of services you're thinking of offering. Sometimes if you start out if you find that you're targeting something a little more general and not getting much success, or you've got a lot of competition, what you might try is niching down and specializing even further within that market to see if that'll get you to that sweet spot. So next, competition. Ideally, of course, you want competition to be low, the lower better. And then thirdly, profitability. So again, ideally you want the market to be as profitable as possible. Generally though, what you're likely to find is that the more profitable a market is, the more competitive it is. So probably what you're going to need to be looking at is a market that is reasonably profitable. And especially one that's where the profitability is either steady or is increasing over time. So now, the next question that you probably have is, okay, great, that sounds good. Size, competition, profitability equals success. I get that. But how do I figure out those things for a market? So unfortunately, that's going to be beyond the scope of this video, and I've talked about that in other videos and other articles. But there are some tools that are available that allow you to research markets and actually give you a lot of detailed information on how to evaluate these three factors: size, competition, and profitability. So two tools that I would recommend are the Google Keyword Tool, and that's a free tool, and then also Market Samurai, which is a paid tool. The cost is, I think, $97 or so. I've got a link on my website for that. But the cool thing about Market Samurai is that it lets you automate a ton of the tasks and save you a ton of time, hours or days even, depending, compared to using the Google Keyword Tool. But again, the Google Keyword Tool is free, Market Samurai is paid. Both are really great tools for evaluating the size, competition, and profitability of a market. And they're going to give you the information that you need to plug into the niche success equation. So essentially what you're looking for as you're going through and doing your research for your market, your markets, is a market that has sufficient size to sustain you and any other potential competitors, one that has low competition, and of course one that has relatively high profitability. So all those things together are going to greatly increase your chances of success. And along the way, you're going to be much less likely to struggle in building your profitable consulting business. And of course, that's going to generate or create your ideal lifestyle, which is what we're all trying to do here. So that's it for now. If you like this, please email me, click like on the video, leave a comment, and thanks, and we'll talk soon.